I live for it.
That's
You
like
must do
very
it.
on brand for me. Hey everyone, welcome back to Do What You Can for the People, the show that nobody asked for. Today, my guest is Hillary WEISS. Hillary is a brand consultant, speaker, creative director, and founder of Statement Piece Studio at HillaryWeiss.com. She's helped thousands of brands all over the world get seen and heard and make serious cash through her one-on-one client work, writing, coaching, and videos. Nowadays, she's on a mission to help more small businesses define their statement piece, aka the bold point of view that makes them radically relevant to their perfect people. But forget all that. That's not important. She is my best friend and my partner in all kinds of shenanigans and tomfoolery. We went to college together at the University of Miami and haven't stopped rapid fire texting each other since approximately 2008. Yeah,
How
roughly.
true that is. Yes.
We've been through so many chapters of life together, and I really wanted to have her on the show today to talk about personal style because she is my style guru.
Yes, you're
Hey,
my style
Hill.
guru. We seem to be at an impasse. I'm so honored to be here. Nikki, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. I wanted to do an episode on personal style, and of course I had to have you because we are fashion addicts,
Yep.
admittedly.
It's a huge problem.
And it's been a huge problem. I mean, we'll
Yep.
send each other texts, me like, hey, did you see this sale? And the other person will be like, fuck you, why you do this?
How dare you? I blacked out and spent $150. Yes, but that's how female friendship should be, I think, in its finest form.
I think so. So I thought we'd just kick off with talking a little bit about why personal style matters. It wouldn't be my show if I didn't pull together some facts and figures. And I found that there are three main reasons why personal style matters. None of this is groundbreaking, but first impressions, obviously. So 55% of first impressions are based solely on what you see. In this case, people do read a book by its cover. And within the first 7 seconds of meeting, people will have a solid impression of who you are. Nonverbal messaging is really important. It can communicate that you're clean, organized, successful, authoritative, reliable, approachable, fun, friendly, or the opposite of any of those things. Your personal style also makes you memorable, and I think Hillary can attest to this. Neither one of us needs a ton of help in this department. We're both pretty loud vocally, but also with our fashion choices and accessories and stuff like that. But it never hurts to be wearing that one special piece of jewelry, or we went through a phase, and I think maybe still do have a phase of bold lipstick choices.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. The lips are the eyes of the things. Sorry. No, it's absolutely true. I think it's incredible what having, at least it's not even just like the look, but it's also the confidence when you know you look good and you feel good and you're and style is self-expression, I think is super important.
Absolutely. And speaking of confidence, 90% of women say that they feel more confident when they're wearing their version of the perfect outfit. I used to have this theory that if I was going to go out into the world, I had to have a full face of makeup on, and I used to call it my war paint. I was ready for battle. I would show up to like our coffee shop when we were co-working. It was just the two of us, like fully glammed out, and you'd be like, "Is that why you're an hour late?" Yes, bitch, it is.
For the gods. Those were the days. That was peak Nikki and her contour makeup skills. I remember that.
Oh my gosh!
And then
I used to have
happened.
I used to have a 45-minute skincare routine. For what? I was like 23. I didn't need a 45-minute.
You still don't. And you won't. Have you seen your mom? Oh,
Seriously.
no.
Got them good genes. I personally just have a really hard time being productive when I'm wearing my pajamas or my sweatpants. We've both worked from home for years, and I don't know about you, but like I wake up and I still need to put real clothes on so I can go to work.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually went like full circle with that because it was like I've been working from home for 9 years now. And it was for a while where I would like not leave the same pair of pajamas for like 3 weeks at a time. But it would be, it started to sort of wear on me, but it took years. It took like, I would work in my pajamas. I'd work in my yoga pants. I'd work in my bathrobe. I'd put on clothes. No, it would digress. And I would just kind of loop back around. But I think it's absolutely, now I always get dressed for the day just because it really is. Like, it makes me feel like I'm ready to go. And it also makes me feel when I would stay at home in my pajamas, kind of like I was sneaking, like I wasn't fully there, like you get on a Zoom call and you don't start the video because you're like, I'm still in my jammies and I look super haggard. Whereas, when you got a little bit of makeup on, or at least like an outfit you feel really good in, at least from the, waist up, it really kind of changes your attitude for the day. And I think there's actually like a whole strategic side of style, especially in the professional sphere. This is interesting. So I can talk a little bit about this now. We can talk about it later in the episode. But I often plan my outfits in conferences very strategically when I go to events. Like, Lord, hoping those are going to start again by for every industry. But for me, for example, I was at an event in Niagara Falls not long ago, which was a lot of sort of business, sort of like spiritual personal development. And I remember thinking, okay, how am I going to plan my outfits? Because it's one thing to be like, my brand colors, by the way, for those who don't know, are red, yellow, and blue. So it's really easy to get up and be like, okay, I'll just wear red, yellow, and blue outfits every day and be on brand. But there's so many different ways to represent yourself, I think. And it really is, I think you mentioned, like putting your superhero outfit on. That's how it feels for me. So I remember I was like, I want to give like stand out, but nothing too brash. I want to serve like urban chic, and I want to like represent for Brooklyn, but I don't want to be necessarily always super approachable either. Because I'm just a warm, approachable person naturally, and I think that kind of speaks to me. So I try not to worry too much about that in my personal style, being like, don't offend anybody. Like, obviously I'm not showing up with like my titties hanging out, but it's maybe
One
someday when we live in a more progressive society. I did rock side boob once, and I had someone come up to me and tell me they loved my side boob, and I was like,
That's right.
You don't hear that every day. Yeah. And so I remember thinking, like, what is everyone going to be wearing so I can wear the opposite for one day? So I knew most people roll up in black to those things. So I showed up in all white. And then, there was a lot of like peasant skirts and a lot of like flowy clothing, bright colors. So then another day I wore like dark black jeans, black top and orange and all of that. So it's very much, and always with that statement piece. And that's actually part of my brand name statement piece studio. It's around messaging, but a statement piece of jewelry or clothing is really wonderful because, as you mentioned, it speaks to who you are before you have to say a word. It's like your personal brand. Everything you do is tied to your personal brand, whether you have a job or a 9-to-5 job or a business or whatever. And I think it's so important to sort of always have at least one like talisman on you that represents who you are. It makes you feel like yourself. It's like that little secret you have with yourself that like, this makes me feel powerful, and this makes me feel, connected to the person I want to be. And this is going to exude that energy.
For the longest time, that was dark purple lipstick for me. I remember like a very big phase of every networking event I went to, I was wearing the same eggplant purple lipstick, and it was great because it made me feel awesome, but also I became that girl in the dark purple lipstick. Like, people started to recognize me for it, and that was really freaking cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, isn't that the best feeling? You're like, that was me. That's a deliberate choice. When you do it over and over again, people start to notice. It really is like, it's like the lipstick is so important. I think a lot of women don't realize that alone can be a trademark. I think when people think of personal style or trying to represent like their inner selves, they're like, oh no, like I have to be kitted out in like head to toe Xena warrior princess garb, to really feel like I'm bringing the strength. But it really, like, it's, I had that gold ring that said boss for a long time. And for a while, even when I was casual, like even when I was home in my pajamas, sometimes if I needed a little extra boost, I'd put the ring on. And it really does sort of connect you to that. And it can be, but that style statement, that like strategic style in terms of just like really showing off who you are and putting it out there in a different way. It could be lipstick. It really could be, the way you do your hair. It could be, jewelry, clothing. Or even just like the attitude, but you really have to commit to make sure the attitude is totally consistent.
Oh yeah. Like my friend Alex and I, we put on big hoops.
Yeah.
Channel a certain energy. Big hoop energy is a real thing.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. And it's also interesting, I think, because I know for both of our personal styles really denoted certain phases of our lives. And I know we're going to talk about that a little later. But it does allow you to evolve. It like allows you to mark life. And that's what I love about personal style as well. It's like, oh, this was the time I looked like a dog, got into a cram box and threw up on me. And then because I'm wearing so many colors, this is the time when I would like walk around in turquoise and a flower skirt because I was in a tiny town in Germany where everyone was like kitted out in North Face every day and there was no one standing out and all of this. And it's just, it marks moments in your life that your personality, the things you're going through, the things you're discovering about yourself kind of come through in your style. And that's what I like about
Yeah. And I also love how my closet, when I look at it, I see memories.
Yeah.
I know that you do the same thing, and we have this long pattern of closing our eyes when we have like a big event coming up and be like, okay, I'm picturing your closet.
Exactly. Hang on, it's always going to be the black and white. But no, it's true, and I think that's a wonderful thing about our friendship as well is that I think it's possible to love personal style as well without necessarily being super materialistic about it. Like, I think, again, there's a lot of misconceptions around investing in personal style that it has to be all name brands. And you and I can attest that it's not necessarily the case.
We raided every Goodwill, every thrift store in Southeast Florida for like the 4 years that we were there.
Totally unironically. In the town I grew up in, there was this thrift store called World Thrift. Do you remember that place?
Yes, I do.
Giant. That's like a thrift store. Like even Goodwill's a little upscale. Buffalo Exchange, Beacon's Closet, forget it.
Is that the one that didn't have dressing rooms and you just had to stand in a corner?
Yes.
And get to block each other like
yes. That? Yep. And you pick up a purse for 25 cents, and
amazing.
I got a leather jacket there for $7 that I still had and wear constantly.
I think one of my favorite things about thrifting as well is, I think this might have been in Brooklyn, but there was a thrift store where you could thrift and also get HIV testing done at the same time. And I was like,
out of the closet.
We love a multitasking queen. We love it.
Absolutely. And I think that's what I loved about Secondhand Style was, there's this argument that thrift stores are like full of everyone else's rejected clothing. But at the same time, like you can pick up such interesting pieces there. And we built so many outfits around these like wild, repurposed, like old school threads of every kind. And I think that creativity with personal style is like where a lot of the joy comes in.
Absolutely.
And that opportunity to kind of stay connected to your past self as your style evolves. Like for you, I know that while we may have put away the bright colors of the Miami scene, I'll see you go to a networking event like in a salmon pink top, and I know you're connected to that self. Like it's about being more of who you are, letting that show within certain specific contexts. Of course, we don't necessarily need to be walking around in a bathing suit at a conference, but it's a really wonderful way to represent yourself and let your imagination shine through a little bit wherever you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we've teased this out enough. We put together some of the photos from our college days. Let's get into it because they're amazing and hilarious.
Oh my God.
This came about because I was having a conversation with a few of my MBA buddies. And I was telling them about how I used to be like total Florida hippie.
Yep, through and through.
They 100% did not believe me. They were like, no, look at you. You're professional Nicole. Like this, there's no way that you used to have long flowing hair and a big nose ring and wear like flip-flops every day. Like, no, this was us.
This was me, Mom. Yeah, there's me in the tie-dye back in the red blob days. Oh my God.
Those tie-dye shirts and the number of jeans that we cut off while we were still like, one of us would be wearing them and the other one would be behind with the scissors.
Yeah, you got it, because you gotta cut them while you're standing, or else you're gonna cut them too high, and then your butt's
you'll cut them on an angle. Yeah, no,
exactly. You cannot leave this to chance. Yeah, those tie-dye shirts, by the way, from the kids department at World Thrift.
Oh, nice.
The best stuff from the boys department. Yep.
And the dress that I'm wearing, I think every single one of us in our suite wore that dress at some point. That's why I picked these photos.
Classic.
In Urban Outfitters' first like super cheap sale dress, because we were poor college students and I couldn't afford Urban Outfitters full price. But we used to like share closets too, the four of us, you, me, and our two suite mates.
Yep. It was
I think by the end of 4 years, I was unclear about whose clothes were whom.
they belonged to the collective at that stage. But yeah, I think it's like I just remember having those moments in Urban Outfitters, like $20 for a tube top. What? I get this for $3 at World Thrift. Forget it. And I'll get it in 2 months when some rich kid throws it away. But
yeah, for sure. Oh, this
classic.
Setting out on our road trip.
Oh my God.
Just so damn Florida.
Maximum Florida, maximum hippie, serving you, I don't even know what that top is, serving you like tropical resort casual top and cut off jeans. Yeah, this was the trip where the love bug season was really bad, and we had to scrape them off the front of your car. Memories.
Yeah. I remember also that dress was a thrift store find, the one that I'm wearing, and it just didn't fit right at all. Like the boobs were up here. And,
and yet we made it work.
Oh, yet we made it work. We didn't care.
Yeah.
We've come so far, Hillary.
I know. Our clothes actually fit us now.
I know.
Growth.
I pulled these. This was the summer I spent touring the EU on a business and politics class, and they asked us to bring some business casual outfits. My dumbass Floridian brain was like, yeah, this is a button-down shirt.
You know what? It works for me. Look at that beautiful skirt. Yeah. Look at that mid-waist belt. That is peak 2008, was it? 9?
Something like that. 2009. Yeah. I got some more belt photos in here. They may actually be up next because we loved belting.
I know. Hey, it was a different time for belts, you know? Oh.
This was, I think, one of the first summers where we started to come into our own style.
Yeah,
and figure out
New York.
What a grown-up should look like.
We're getting there slowly but surely in these photos. Yeah, God, we were also super hungover that day, weren't we?
Probably. We're holding cupcakes. It's likely. We're holding cupcakes on a stoop in New York. I mean.
Yep. We had to sit down for that one, clearly. Oh, how cute is this?
Yeah.
Thrift shop finds for all.
I also pulled this because everyone in this photo is wearing an article of my clothing.
That is true.
Yeah, you're wearing my jeans. Lee is wearing my dress. Lauren's wearing my shirt, and I'm wearing only my clothes.
Should have thought that one through, man. You should have gotten some reciprocity.
Put a belt on it. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, I have no excuse for the one on the far left. That was 2013. But it looks great. We look awesome.
The belt season lasted forever.
It's a powerful season. I mean, you look at you got other belts in these photos.
Got so many belts. We used to wear skirts as dresses and belt them.
Yeah.
I mean, I still might.
Yeah, I actually have some of those skirts from that era. I actually have a hard time getting rid of this clothing because for this reason, very convenient. So I have a few key pieces still, so we'll see if they make a comeback, as fashion is inherently cyclical.
I think that's all I got, but...
Oh my God, it's so cute.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. So I want to ask you, can I ask you a question?
Duh.
What is your power outfit right now? What makes you feel most confident? It doesn't have to be like a specific outfit, but the types of clothing.
I've definitely gone towards neutrals in a big way. So I will gravitate towards like white or cream blouses, dark pants, and then I'm obsessed right now with my tweed blazer. I try and style it with everything because I think it's just a nice texture. I'm really into textures these days, I think, more so than like patterns or colors.
Yes, the detailing. That makes sense.
How about you?
I love you in a neutral. You look great in everything. But it's funny. I'm like, Kim K is steering me in that direction as well. I'm just like, look at all the nudes. But they're often the same color as like my skin, so it just looks kind of weird on me. So I'm like, let me just get a spray tan. Ariana Grande does it. So, but for me, it's funny because I used to wear just like ridiculous clothing and bold and like power clash and like all kinds of the more colorful, the bolder the print, the better. And I think I'll be back there by the by. But living in New York, like that always happens where overnight you look at your closet and you're like, everything's black. How does it happen? Because everything black goes together for winter and then it just starts piling up.
Does it though? Because I look at my black clothes and I'm like, this black doesn't match with this black, but I want to wear them together.
I just don't even look. I'm like, they're two blacks. Away we go.
You have ways to go on your New York blacks.
Bold queen. But no, it's funny. For me, it's silhouettes have kind of changed. I'll wear a lot of crop tops. I'm wearing a crop top right now, but that's because I have a spiritual connection to crop tops. So for my summer, winter wear, there's a little bit of fun. Show a little bit of midriff skin with your high waist jeans. You know, it's flattering. But the silhouettes, I'm looking into sleeker and sleeker kind of fitted stuff. And I'm looking to spend more money on better fabrics now that I have it. And I actually have some regret about all the fast fashion I've consumed in my life, as I'm sure you can relate.
Yep.
And that's been actually a turning point for me, kind of just realizing that it's better to invest like the larger amount of money into a few key quality pieces than load up your cart at H&M for $40 and, you know, send it to a landfill in 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to do because I like to have kind of out there pieces, and then as your taste and like interest in quality kind of goes up, we run into problems because you're like, I can't buy this in 3 colors, or like, oh no, the one with any interesting print is $500.
Yeah.
So it's interesting learning to pick and choose. But definitely my jewelry game is elevated in a big way over the years. And that's the same story. It's like all the, before we started recording, I was talking to Nikki about, this is for the folks at home, about the wall behind me, which used to be filled with necklaces and just like jewelry of mine. And it
Much
just
like the one behind me.
Exactly. Mine was out of control though. It was just too much shit. And I just was looking at them and I was like, damn, I have just been hanging on to this and it's no longer even good to wear. It's not really my style anymore, so let me just let it go. And it's like all this stuff I accumulated because I was like, this is only $20. This is only $10. And it's made me really reflective on how I consume style and how I want to make it part of my life and help it be part of other people's, but also be more mindful of the way I approach it. Because it's one thing to be like, just buy whatever the fuck on Amazon and you can return what you don't on ASOS and then you can return what you like.
Yeah.
But like being more conscientious about it. And learning how to balance like your values with your style, I think is sort of a crossroads a lot of women under 30 kind of hit, I think, when we get to this phase.
My mom wears the same jewelry every day. And for the longest time, I thought that she was crazy. I was like, you've got beautiful jewelry sitting at home and you don't wear any of it. And the older I get, the more I realize the value, not just in jewelry, but in clothing as well, of classic timeless pieces that go with everything. Like the whole idea of a capsule wardrobe is so fascinating to me, and I would love to be the kind of person who has a capsule wardrobe. And I feel like I could do it because I find myself wearing like the same 4 outfits on repeat and they're all mixed and matched. So I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to like empty my whole closet and get rid of everything and have like a sleek like dressing room rack and just have like my ideal pieces on it. Like that would be so dope.
Straight out of an IKEA catalog.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, these Scandinavians, they don't own anything. They're like, here's the wardrobe with 5 things in it.
Right.
For all of plenty of room for all your stuff.
And then I could use my closet to store fancy kitchen appliances, which like would be peak me.
That's like the opposite of the Sex and the City thing, where she was like storing her shoes in her oven, you're storing your pots in your closet. I live for it.
That's like very on brand for me.
It's extremely on brand for you. And it's funny because I invested recently in a pair of very expensive pajamas. And I had been like upping my pajama gang for a little bit, but they're these like Lunya washable silk pajamas that I invested in. I was like, oh my God. Like I put these pajamas on and I was like, this is everything a jammy should be. And I actually ordered something again, like very, very quickly after, because it's interesting, the noticeable difference in quality. But I think it's sort of like a tug of war. It's like, if I'd actually need this, should I be buying it in the first place? But if I want to upgrade something, if I want to up level, you got to invest, baby.
And you know, I think that just goes back to the point of I would rather have one pair of really bougie, expensive, fancy pajamas that make me feel like I'm a princess when I sleep.
Yeah.
Than be sleeping like in my Sophie shorts and a ratty t-shirt anymore.
It just becomes disheartening after a while, especially in quarantine.
100% when you're spending a lot of time in your sleepwear. Yeah,
and it was very interesting. It's very illuminating because I was for a long time I was like, and this is the capsule wardrobe problem, right? Because if you love style, it's going to take something away from you to only have a few key pieces that you rotate. Like, are you going to miss having options?
Right.
And then there's the reality that you realize you go through your closet and you skip over the same things every time, and you reach for the same things every time. So maybe it's a more of an opportunity for more of us than we realize, but maybe. I think it's an interesting, there's definitely a more is more kind of attitude sometimes in the personal style game.
But I think also it's important to remember that with a capsule wardrobe, you're not saying like, this is okay, my capsule wardrobe is complete and that is it. These are the 10 items that I'm going to wear forever. It's just a shift in mindset about, I don't need 700 pieces. I can have 12 and rotate them out and use things like Poshmark or ThreadUp and sell things and replace things and have my style evolve, but just have a lower fashion footprint, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know there are a lot of sustainable fashion companies who are kind of pushing this right now.
They are, yeah. And I mean, I could do a whole other episode on all the sustainable fashion brands out there. Maybe I will.
Yeah, you should.
My school friends. But I did make a list of some of the ways that you could kind of, I had to do a plug for sustainability. You can change up your wardrobe without feeling eco-guilty. So you can thrift, which is something that you and I have already talked about. And I love that the idea of secondhand pieces is making a comeback. I know a lot of people are still icked out by it, and especially now with coronavirus, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think if you're shifting your wardrobe to something that is more expensive, more vintage, then you would be more interested in buying a secondhand piece, especially from a reputable source like a ThreadUp or something like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Selling your clothes, of course. And then this is something that you and I have definitely talked about. We haven't done it yet, but based on our experience with Burning Man, upcycling your items into costumes, I think is a really fun idea.
Absolutely. It also requires me to learn how to work a sewing machine, which is exciting and terrifying.
And then recycling should always be the last option when you're trying to get rid of your clothes. I know a lot of people donate to places like H&M or stuff like that, and they will recycle your clothes, but, and again, this is a whole other episode, but it should always be the last option. You should always try and give your clothes a second life before you shred them and downplay them into something else. But I just wanted to back up a little bit, because one thing we haven't talked about, we talked about quality, but I would love to ask you about fit, because I know that you get a lot of your clothes tailored. And so I was wondering if you could tell us about that revelation and, and how you get your clothes tailored and like the difference in that experience.
Yeah, it started when I realized so you remember in the days of flare jeans, being a short woman, there were low-rise flare jeans, and this goes back to high school. It used to drive me crazy that my flare jeans would drag on the ground. And eventually, because I would walk around, because I'm Floridian, walk around in flip-flops, and the jeans get caught on the underside of the flip-flops and dragged for miles anyway.
You get those cute holes in the bottom of your jeans.
Yep. So cute. And I remember for a while, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cute. It's just, I've been walking around. And I'm like,
so
oh no.
Shit. And then it's not cute anymore.
I looked homeless. But I think for me, it's the pants. And I kind of gave up a while ago trying to find pants that are perfectly my size. Because, if you're a woman who is above a size 4, it's just complicated. Because often I'll need a wider waistband, that I'll need that it's for the length of the leg and all of that. So it really started with pants. And so especially when I order big voluminous flares, and the styles of pants that I like to wear just require tailoring to look good. And I think that's, especially around the wedding, I figured that out too. I went and had so much stuff altered because and this is where it gets tricky, because I would order from the fast fashion brands, and then I would go to my tailor who's very good, and I would actually spend more on tailoring than I spent on the pants. So that's another reason to sort of rethink the relationship to this whole thing in some ways, because I was like, all right, it's much better to order from a nicer brand who is probably going to have something closer to a flattering fit that I don't necessarily have to take in. But it's a great way to repurpose clothes also that have gotten too big or too small and all of that. And it means I waste less, which I really like.
But I think also, just to go to the fast fashion thing, because I don't think that this is an unpopular opinion. Fast fashion is not great, right?
Yeah.
But I think what's worse is if you buy a pair from fast fashion, it doesn't fit you right, and then it sits in your closet and you never wear it.
Yeah.
That is so much worse. And then it eventually goes to a landfill or gets downcycled into a park bench or something. It is so much better for you to buy the pants that are within your price range, spend the extra $20 to get them to fit right, wear them.
Yeah.
And then give them to someone or sell them to someone who can do the same and over again.
Exactly. And often I find it actually helps the integrity of the fabric and the sewing, because they'll go back through and fix stuff and all of that. which means it lasts longer. But yeah, it's, for me, it really happened when I figured out like I could get pants to actually fit me properly, which is a revelation, truly. I know. Well, that's the thing, because when you grow up in Florida too, shorts are really forgiving, right? And jeans, you know, you can kind of like squish up at the foot. But if you're a curvy woman with short legs, you realize you're out of options once you get out of the denim department. And it's like, what do I do? But I think that's also, yeah, go ahead.
To be fair, that's like all I've gotten tailored as well, are my trousers, and like from a professional setting, because also if I'm standing in front of a room of people and I want to be giving a presentation, or I'm meeting a client or something like that, I can't have my pants. I can't wear jeans, first of all. Definitely can't wear cutoff shorts. Only so many times that I can wear skirts, especially in the winter. So if I want to wear pants, then I want to make sure that they look good so that I can also feel good, and it feeds back into that confidence thing.
Absolutely. I think that's the same thing. So it's pants and dresses as well, that are, I think, especially business, when they're structured and tailored for, you know, business opportunities, having a really nice, like, knowing everything kind of looks expensive, everything looks on point. Because I also think that's the other impression of style. It's not necessarily just like, this is me, this is my brand, this is the kind of attitude I have, this is the way I want to be perceived, but it's also like, I take care of myself and I can put a look together. Don't you want to work with me? Except for that slob next to me still in their sweatpants on Zoom. That's right. But it is. I
put makeup on for you.
You're welcome. But no, I think it's learning. It's almost like I think it's almost like skincare in a way, where when you're younger, you can just throw on anything because you're like skinny without even trying, and you're tan, and you're just partying all the time. And then as you get older and like things start to slow down, you have to be more mindful. And then you realize that, you know, your appearance has an impact. So you start to take care of your skin, and you start to realize that you want to preserve this stuff and take better care of yourself, and taking better care of your closet is super important too for that reason.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we've probably talked we could do this for hours. We have done this for hours. That's
nowhere to go.
We've done it for a decade, actually. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the show. I will, of course, be including links down in the description box so people can stalk you all over the interwebs and see all your fabulous outfits. Hillary's also got a great eye for photo shoot outfits. Like, that is, I think, a new evolution in your style. And disco boots that you had in one of your most recent shoots, those were friggin' bomb. So definitely go follow her on all the socials.
They were a size too small, and I was channeling my America's Next Top Model in the shoot. I was like, oh, it hurts so bad. I'm smiling. It was just, I was like, Tyra would be so proud. But thank you so much. And this is so much fun. Thank you so much for having me on your wonderful, wonderful show. And I look forward to continuing to binge it.
Thanks, friend. All right. And for the rest of y'all, we'll see you next week.
Bye for now.